Alright guys, gals, and everything in between. So, still experimenting with the green screen. It's been a crazy week, but Ash vs. Evil Dead happened, so we gotta talk about that. Alright, so Ash vs. Evil Dead. This is episode 6, so we are over the halfway mark, and this one was actually more filler than the one I accused of being filler. It's not filler in a bad way, it's still a filler episode, which, I mean, is understandable in television shows. So, we start out as I predicted. They're right on his tail. Our cop and lady from Evil Dead 2 duo, they are on his tail, and they're searching the house, and they see the body being burned, and the cop's like, this is unjust, this is evil, even though she's now seen Deadites like 3 or 4 times, but she still doesn't believe him, so there's that. But they're on their way through the farm and they're searching, and then all of a sudden you see evil coming, and there's actually a really creepy shot of the lady from Evil Dead 2 walking through the house, and she sees a goat, and then when she's looking at the goat, the evil is like behind her. And in the comments section, if there is another name for what I'm calling the evil, which is the camera shot that like moves around everywhere, and then the cloud, the cloud from Lost, please tell me if there's an actual name for it somewhere in the lore, comic books, video games. I mean, it's not necessarily a Deadite, but I just call it the evil because evil seems to follow. So that's my assumption of it anyway. There's a really creepy shot, as I said, of the evil, like, behind her, and then it disappears when she turns around. I thought that was really cool. And then outside, we see the evil again, like, go into a fire, and then boom, explosions, and a skeleton guy comes out. And his face looked a lot like the Necronomicon, actually. And she starts shooting it, and she runs out, she grabs a scythe, the lady from Evil Dead 2, and then boom, stabs the weird skeleton guy. You betrayed us! They fall into the fire, and then boom, Michael Bay took over for a second. As she's like, where is he? Nowhere to be found, and then she can't find the hand, and I was like, Evil Dead 2, the hand still moves everywhere, it's awesome. So, now we cut to the meat of the episode. That was our intro, and it was actually a really great intro, even though I really wanted them to team up with Ash a lot sooner, or not follow that we're chasing him premise. Ash still, it still had an amazing intro. Ash and his crew are eating at a small little diner, which actually the exterior of it is a huge diner. Alright, if I have anything to say, from the inside of it, they show it as like a small-time diner, but from the exterior, that looks like way nicer than the Denny's I eat at. I have to say that's my one complaint about the episode, is this looks like something that's a nice lodge out of Twin Peaks, and what normally a restaurant, like a breakfast place of that scale that you would normally see, is something like the Denny's I eat at, which, let's just say, Mad Max Fury Road is a true story. When they're in there and talking, he's like, I think I realize what we have to do. We have to go to the cabin from old, and I was like, yes, we're referencing the old stuff. Cabin, he's gotta go back. So that leads me to theorize our big finale is going to lead and be at the cabin. My assumption is going to have 2 episodes at the cabin. At least 1.5, where we have the end of the second to last episode, and then the finale at the cabin, throwback Evil Dead, fighting for their lives, kind of thing. And I think it's going to be really cool, because you're going to have this amazing setup with the old school cabin, and it's going to be a nostalgia bomb. As they're doing that, he's like, but I can't let you guys go with me. And Kelly and Pablo are both like, BS, which is true, because, I mean, Pablo and them have been along for everything, and Ash has said, you guys, we're a team. And Kelly points that out, and she's like, besides, I'm really ready to kill some Deadites. Then they bicker about this for a little more, and he runs into a guy who I think is going to be important to the plot, which is where he's like, hey, I'm sober for 9 days. I just joined a militia. We have tons of weapons out there. And Ash is just kind of like, really? That means we're gonna get some serious weaponry, or at least I hope we're gonna get some serious weaponry. This guy, he was kind of a shady dude, but you could tell that he's important to the plot somehow. As he's getting directions to this, they realize Ash can't pay the bill, but he doesn't want Pablo and Kelly to know that. Where they had a really funny exchange where he's like, I thought we were splitting, that's why I just ordered the fruit cup. And she's like, no, that's why twice when you first got in here and at lunch or breakfast, whatever they're having. Round's on me. He's like, fine. And then tries to pay. He's like, I don't have money. But you know what? I'll take care of the bill. Kids go into the trailer. And Pablo and Kelly have a very important conversation, which is the fallout. It's not like, oh wow, you were possessed. Oh well, let's continue on our adventure. Pablo and Kelly are still talking about it. And he's like, you tried to do things and you tried to sleep with me and this kind of stuff, and I don't know if that's their real feelings or not. And they keep toying with this, do they love each other? Do they not? And I'm actually okay with that romance arc, because the romance aspect of it is very relatable, because you don't see it all that really often in film. I mean, you see the potential, but like, he's technically friend-zoned. Pablo, anyway. He's technically friend-zoned, and she, you can tell, maybe might be interested, but at the same time, she might not be, based on her character. And I like that dynamic the two characters have. But they go into the trailer, and then they're talking about it still, and she's like, what did I try and do? And he goes through it and recreates it, and you see the Brujos necklace on Pablo, like, is reacting, and then the Necronomicon and them have a little fight. It's a brief little spurt of action, although I think I could have done without it, although it was, in a way, a throwback to Army of Darkness in a clever way, because I know they actually don't have the rights to Army of Darkness in this show, but I saw that little reference. So, I get you guys, Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 1. Now the rest of the episode hits, the finale, which is Ash is trying to bribe the waitress into going into the bathroom to negotiate the deal. He goes in there, and the girl cop comes in and bursts in. I was like, oh, we're gonna have another confrontation. And Ash said exactly what I was thinking, which was, you again, really? They have their fight, and Ash is distracted by some assets. I actually didn't care for this fight because I don't feel like that was Ash as a character. I mean, it's maybe like a stereotypical Bruce Campbell, but I don't feel like it was Ash. Ash, yes, he was a bit of a playboy, he was kind of the reckless type, but he wasn't stupid, and they made him kind of stupid in that fight. Although he was clever by being like, oh, no, the road doesn't end here, or does it? And she gets like, ew, and then distracts him. That was clever, that was Ash. The rest of it, I don't really feel like it was Ash, although the fight scene was awesome. That was legit. Like, holy crap, that was really well filmed action, where they're like tossing and turning. I loved that. And also randomly, right before the bathroom scene, there was a scene with a fan, and the like camera was like shooting it through the fan. That was an amazing shot. I mean, I've seen it before in movies, but I love that shot. I don't know why. Like, I've watched the episode twice, and I sat there and was like, I love that shot. I don't know. I'm weird that way. So as the fight breaks out into the main lobby, the main police guy, like the other police guy is there and is like, wow, this is the guy. So let's arrest him. And then boom, Evil shows up and he's like, I'm the only one who knows how to fight this. They're like, fight what? That. And then boom, Evil shows up, and then they're all deadites except for the cop lady and Ash, and the guy's like, bro, I'm taking you in. And so they're fighting, and this kid like runs out in the middle of the fight, and I was like, oh my god, like what? And Ash is like, no, and the deadite picks him up and throws the kid into the fan, and the kid's like gets stuck in the fan, and I was like, you just killed a kid on TV. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was shocked. Like, maybe in a movie, in an R-rated movie, like, yeah, the kid's head goes through the fan and dies, sure. But TV, I was so shocked by that. I loved it because I didn't expect it. And so this fight breaks out between the deadites, and luckily, Kelly and Pablo run in, and this is so cool. She tosses him, like, he tosses the chainsaw, she tosses the shotgun, and he detaches the arm and catches it, and it's shot in an Evil Dead fashion. And then he turns to the cop lady, and he's like, what, you never seen a man with a chainsaw hand before? And I laugh because I love that, because I don't know, in my house anyway, it's a staple to have Evil Dead. So that's normal to me. But I love the fact that to me it's become so normal to see Ash with a chainsaw that like a normal person would be like, what? Points it out, and then they go and they have their fight and it's all brutal, and Pablo grabs like a handgun and is like, I got this, and slides on the ground and is shooting this deadite. Normally a scene like that is super cheesy, but it worked for the episode because it actually didn't look cheesy. Like, it was smooth and you got to see the action. It wasn't like you were watching The Bourne, like a cheap version of The Bourne, because Bourne did it good, like where you could actually see the action with the shaky cam. It's a fine art. And then all of the sudden, like, where it's like, and you don't see anything. No, this one he's like shooting, and then Kelly basically finishes off the action scene by tackling this deadite, and then, okay, as someone who's worked in the food service industry and handled meat slicers, she like grabs him and there's a meat slicer and she smashes his head into it. Okay, they tell you like bad things happen if you screw up with a meat slicer. And so as like you're cutting meat or something, you're so afraid your head's just gonna explode from it. So as she's like all of a sudden turns the meat slicer on and is just like extra thin, just like I like it. I was like, oh my god. My fears are realized on screen, and this deadite is just being slashed by it, and I was like, it's brutal and it's awesome. Blood and gore. And then there's like a shot of like the entrance to the kitchen. You see Ash and them on the other side, just like blood splattering against it, and she grabs a meat tenderizer and just starts smacking the thing. And then he just learns she needed to really get that out. And just something along those lines. Now, I've seen the episode twice, so I definitely really liked the pacing of this episode. It had the elements of a filler episode, but it didn't feel like one. So then after the fight, and she's like already smashed this thing's head, and they walk out, there's a humorous scene with a pie, and then the cop. Now this can go either one of two ways, the way I want it to go or the way it doesn't. And it went the way I wanted it to go, is where she's like, you know, the police are going to be here pretty soon, and Ash is like, you could travel with me. And she looks at him, and the one thing I don't like is then they turned him not into Ash again, where she starts talking, and she becomes a sex symbol. Ash never was that way. I mean, yeah, he was like, give me some sugar, baby. I'm okay with deadbeat Ash, but that wasn't deadbeat Ash. That was just them being like, Bruce Campbell would totally do that. And so I wasn't fond of that, and then all of a sudden he's like, travel with us. Groovy. And she heads out, and they're with her. I was afraid it was going to turn into her being like, police are going to be here soon. Call us even. Just remember, I'm going to be hunting you. Until we inevitably team up in the end. So this was just a waste of story potential. But it wasn't. So she's traveling with them. So I have a feeling the next episode is going to be a little bit of trust issues and them trying to catch her up on everything. And then, of course, they're going to have to work together and fight in that episode, which is going to lead to our finale in the cabin. Like the last 2 or 3 episodes is going to be that leading, like right there with the finale at the cabin. So what do you guys think? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got plenty more videos to ya. Hail to the king, baby.